um, our data has some lapses which we are actually going to look into today. I don't know if anybody has the data on their screen, so someone can just share the Excel sheet, what's in whatever capacity you're viewing your data, Excel or Power BI, anyone. So the first thing I recommended was, okay, Constance, I will send you the mail. If you have my number on WhatsApp, you can send me text on WhatsApp. So I'll do that after this call. Okay, so okay. Right. Okay, so the first thing we want to look at is the we can say, okay, you've cleaned yours already. You've cleaned yours already. Do you have the raw data? Maybe you can use your Excel to open the raw data, the uncleaned one, so I can do what I need to do from there, or see what I
Okay,
need to see.
let me pull it up.
Okay. So one of the things I recommended was looking at the country column. You would want to claim okay, the country column has countries like RSA. RSA, as we know, is South Africa. Okay, so you would want to settle that.
Can you see the screen, please?
Yeah, I can.
Yes, we can see our screen, but you're still on Power BI.
Oh, all right. Let me change it.
Okay.
Okay, so RSA is for South Africa, and we have what else again? Okay, yeah, thank you. So let me see. Okay. So if you look at so there was an information I saw in the mail which I think I skipped. It says that those stubs that have negative values, they need to be removed from the data. Okay, the stubs that have the prices and quantities that have negative values need to be removed from the data. So we can use conditional formatting in Power BI to do that. But let's not talk about that now. Let's just go to basic data cleaning. Right, so if you look at country, can you use your filter in the country section so we can see the countries we have there?
And are you recording today's session?
Yeah, I'm trying. Let's hope it happens, goes through.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, go to RSA. Just go down. Okay, look for RSA. Yeah.
No matches.
Oh, really?
Good morning, everyone.
Hi, good morning, Avdefila.
I'm sorry I came late. I just finished an interview, so that's why I came late.
Okay, that interview is going to
I
work
believe
out for you.
this data set is from Group C, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Actually,
this has been cleaned.
Yes, we have already cleaned everything. We have changed the RSA to South Africa. We have removed the items with 0 unit price, and we also normalize quantity that are negative. That's why we have normalized quantity in column E, where if you click on it, you see the formula. So we normalize it.
Okay, just click on the cell. Click on the cell on just click on any of the cells there.
Can I present from here?
please, can we have the raw data so that I can use it to explain for those of us that have not
Yeah,
worked?
let's Benga start presenting. I think he has all the raw data with him, so I'll stop presenting.
Okay.
Okay, Benga, please, whatever data you're showing, let it be the unclaimed data, right? Let it be the unclaimed data.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
okay. So, Benga, whatever interview you went for, just you'll be fine. Everything should go well.
I'm coming. Amen. Thanks.
Okay, and Ife Imo, I see you. I'm saying hi from here.
Okay.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Okay. Right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Can we be sharp with this? Okay, so let me just be talking before it comes up with his data. So, the first thing I would do is just do some basic data cleaning before I go into the advanced ones. So one of the basic things is just to change RSA to South Africa. Then from RSA, I would also change EIRE.
Daniel, please, are you recording this class?
I'm trying.
Okay.
So I'll also change EIRE to Island. Then also look for every other, just clean the country column basically. Every other country that is written in its short form, you can change that to its full name. So that if by chance you want to visualize these countries with a map using Power BI, they can be located on this map. But make sure that your South Africa is South space Africa, not South and Africa joined together. That's how it's recognized on the map. Okay. So also after you've done that, just make sure that you've cleaned the country's data set. After you've done that, make sure that there are no blank cells in the country. So which means any place that is blank, any place that is blank in your country's data set, you would want to remove that row. You can remove that row because it constitutes like less than 1% of your entire data. Okay. Anything that is blank, you might want to remove it. Then okay, the next thing you would want to do is just waiting for the data to come up. Waiting for the data. And you don't have an Excel the Microsoft Office don't have that.
Okay.
I think that would have been the best way to just so we don't have to wait for it to load. If you have the normal Microsoft Office, that will be fine. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good. So yeah. So looking at the country column, just scroll down, then filter it down. Let's see the unique countries we have there. Okay, we can see RSA just at the top there. RSA is basically South Africa, right? So we also have countries that are unspecified. That's the second to the last country there, unspecified. So whatever countries are written as
This.
Yeah, this EIRE should be Ireland, right? When you check that on Google, you should see Ireland there. After Iceland, what's the next country after Iceland, please?
That's
Binga.
European Community. European Community. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. After Iceland, there's a country beneath Iceland. I need to know that country.
Yes, that's European Community.
Uh, Scroll down to Iceland.
European Community. Can you see
Yeah,
it?
scroll down to Iceland. Iceland, not European Community. Iceland.
Okay. That's Israel.
Okay, good. So the EIRE should be changed to Ireland. Okay, Ireland is known as
Okay.
EIRE, right? So that's if you use Google, Google will tell you that, right? So the next cleaning you would want to do is you have to treat also the that European community, because European community is not a country, right? It's like more like um, something like ECOWAS, European community, all those EU something. So basically, France could be part of this European community. We never can tell. Multiple countries could be inside this European community. So basically, it's not a country. So you might want to change that European community to Europe. Okay, you might want to change it to Europe. Then, if you want, you can group the European countries into without Europe into a continent called Europe or European community. Leave it that way and find a way to group these stuff into continents. Okay, so that you can view it continent by continent. But if you are viewing it country by country, you have to filter out the European community because it's not a country. But if you are viewing it continent by continent, put the European continent community as part of Europe so that you can view it continent by continent. Okay, then looking at unspecified, you can remove that from your data because it's not going to give you an error. Basically, it contributes to less than 10% of your entire data, so it can be removed. Okay, it can be removed. So yeah, I think that's all for the countries data set. For this country column, that's all you need to do there. Then okay. So the next thing you would want to do is that invoice date. You would want to change the invoice date to remove the time there. The time is not necessary because we have a lot of 826, have a lot of 834. It's basically won't add anything if you leave the time there. So you would want to convert that invoice date to date, remove the time. So you can use the um, click on the invoice dates, please. The column, just the column, don't not the filter, just the column. All right. So if you go to is it data or general? Data, yeah. Um, okay. Okay, go back to home. You should be in home. Sorry.
It should be home.
Yeah. Okay, click on that. Yeah. So change that to long dates. You can change it to long dates. Then enlarge the column. Let's see if time is still part of it. I don't think time should be there. Okay, good. So now we can see time is no longer there. But if you were using Power BI, you can easily specify if you want to just remove the time. Just choose only dates. So if you're using Power BI to remove only the time, you can just choose only dates, right? So, but this a very easy way to do that. So why I'm choosing long dates is because at some point you want to look at which day is the most transacting day. Which day do you have more transactions? It could be Wednesdays, it could be Mondays, it could be Fridays. You just might want to keep that in mind. Okay, because the first question here states that the CEO wants to look at the revenue by month and every other factors that contributes to this. So some of the factors that contribute to it might be the most transacting day. So you might want to also look at that. So I'm using long dates there. So here we can see Wednesday, December 1, 2010. So you can check the revenue for the whole of December 2010. You can also check revenue for January 2011, February 2011, down to December 2011. Okay, then you also have quantity. So now in the data cleanup, the mail sent to you guys, one of the things they said was you can use conditional formatting to exclude the quantity or prices with negative values from your data analysis. Okay. So one way you could do it is totally removing it from the data, entire data, remove all the negative values, okay, from your entire data. And the other way you can do it is what Adifila and his team did, normalize the data. Okay, but if it were led to me, I would have plan A and plan B. The first way I would do is just to remove them from my data set. Okay, but I'm going to save a copy of this data. While this first copy is going to have them in my data set, the second copy is going to remove them from the data set. So I'm going to be working on two things separately. Okay, so right, what I'm going to get back to that one, but then customer ID, we have customer ID. Some customer IDs were left with blanks. Okay, one of the ways you can do this one is to put no ID there. Okay, put no ID there. So you might want to use if statements. All right, you can just say if customer ID is uh, okay. The way I actually did this one was to filter this customer ID and I chose only the blanks, right? I chose only the blanks. Then I used no ID. I just wrote no ID in one cell. Then I dragged it to the last cell there. So every blank cell was changed to no ID. Then I also made a new column that says that if a new column that says that if um, customer ID is no ID, let it be unregistered. Else, let it be registered, which means people with no ID are unregistered customers. People with IDs are registered customers. Because if you go to buy from Jumia and you've opened an account with Jumia, maybe you've registered, used your email to register, you have a unique identification number. Anytime you come to buy from Jumia, whenever it is, as long as you are logged in, you are going to your customer ID is going to be registered. It's going to be captured, I mean. Okay. But if you don't have an account with Jumia and you are purchasing from Jumia without opening an account or registering an account, you don't have an ID. You just have an order ID or invoice number or maybe stock code. That is just what you might have. But customer ID won't be registered there. Customer ID won't be showing there because you've not registered with Jumia. So that's basically what that side means. So you can have put those blank cells in customer ID as not registered. Okay, or no ID. Then you can open a new column as customer status. It can be registered or not registered. So you might want to do that. Then I don't know if the stock code has repeating codes there. I can't really say if the stock code has repeating codes there, but if stock code if the stock code is having repeating codes there, I really can't say. Okay. Okay, good. So we have some repeating codes for stock codes. Okay. So if you're interested in doing this, going above and beyond, okay, you can change some of these to you can group them using the stock code. I don't know how long or how many stock codes we have there, right? You can group them using the stock code. So you can find something that is coloring pencils brown too. It could be accessories. Okay? It could be accessories. So you can keep filtering this as much as you want to. I would do it actually. Just I take 1 hour of my time, right, to just keep filtering that as much as I want to, and group this into accessories. You can group some into accessories A, accessories B, accessories C. Whatever way you want to do that. Then looking at invoice number, you're also aware that one invoice number could have so many items inside it. Okay, one invoice number could have 10 items inside it, but um, okay, one invoice number could have 10 items inside them, right?
Daniel, sorry, we couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you anyway, and you lost me where you said you if you were you would be grouping the stock code.
Okay, so what I said is, since we have one stock code having so many items in it, like what we can see here, 10133 has coloring pencils brown tube. You can group it into accessories A or item A, item B, item C. Okay, because this particular item has maybe 20, this particular stock code has maybe 20 items in it. Okay, so you could choose to group it into item A or item B, so that when you're looking for the item that is that has been purchased frequently, you can just name it item A. You can call it item A, right? Because it will be difficult for you to categorize all this item into one category. Maybe you might have stock code 10133 as coloring pencils brown tube. You might have stock code 10134 as hair dryer. And these things, they might actually be accessories, but you might also have another one, stock code 10111 as math set, a mathematical set. So it will be difficult for you to group them into categories, because how sure are you that they actually fall into those categories? But the best way you can actually group them is using item A, item B, item C, item D. Right. So that when you're looking for the item that's when you're looking for the
On
item
this
that's
grouping, what will be the implication?
sorry.
As all this grouping that you are suggesting, what will be the implication?
You can't actually look at you can't actually look at item. Okay, if they ask you what is the item that has sold more, would you say stock code 11001? It's easier to just say item A. What is the description of item A? It is AS TT design racing car pen. That's the description. They'll be like, oh, okay. So the implication is just to make it easy to communicate to whoever it is you're explaining this product to. So stock code 1001, it's a number. It's difficult to say 1001. I mean, you might even make a mistake when you're even saying the 001. But it's much easier to say item B, item C, product A, product B, product C, product D, right? So we can work for, because it's easy to see that one stock code has is repeated so many times, and the product description is also repeated. So you could just call that product A. So that's easy that way to address the issue. But you can't be calling it product or stock code 1001. I mean, it saves time giving it a name. Oluchi, go ahead with your question.
And sorry, Benga, can you filter the stock code? How many stock codes do we have?
Okay. After cleaning, I found out that we have after cleaning, yes, we have more than 3,000.
3,000
Daniel, how do we
unique
deal
stock
with
codes.
3,000 stock codes?
Yes.
3,000 unique stock codes.
I'm coming.
Distinct, yeah.
Yeah, we have more than 3,000.
I think you can use a conditional, a loop. You can use loop. Yeah, you can use loop on Power BI. I don't know if Excel. I think Excel should be able to do that. You can use loop. I will get the Power BI formula to do that. I think I will send that to the group. So if the first stock code is not, if the first stock code is this, name it as this. If it's then you can now use a loop and say let it iterate through. If it's not equal to this one, let the name keep going this and that to product Z. You get, so you can have Z1, Z2, Z3, or whatever it is. But there's a way you can do it using loop, loop like an if statement, right? So it can be product one, product two, product 3,000, product whatever. So I will get the formula and I will send it to the group if you're choosing to group the stock code. But if you're not choosing to do that, you can just you can use invoice. You can use invoice number to do or use customer ID. Which customer has the highest purchasing power? I don't know the unique customers we have in this data. Okay, but you can say which customer has the unique purchasing power. Find the first 5 or first 10, or and which customer has the least purchasing power. Find the last 10, and you find the countries where they're also coming from. So it can tell you which country probably has the least purchasing power. Then just like what they have here, return goods. Okay, what they have here, return goods. From the data at hand, the mail that I sent to you guys, the instruction there is actually to discard this negative value. Okay, that's just the instruction there, to discard the negative values. So anyone you have negative values in your quantity or in your price, you can discard it. Okay, because even though it's more than half, even though it's, like I said, you can have two data sets, the discarded one and the undiscarded one. So you can discard it and make your analysis with the data where you have it discarded, then see what it gives you. Because for the ones that have negative values, I think most of them are coming from UK. I'm not really sure. You get, so once you're able to do that, it might cut your data into half. Most likely, it might cut your data into half. So instead of 4,000 rows or whatever rows you have in here, you might be having maybe 2,000 rows. Adefila, what's up? Go ahead, first.
Okay. Okay. I'm coming now. Now, you actually, from the mail you sent, you asked us to discard the negative and then split it. But when my group and I, when we look at the items there and checking that the receipt has alphabet attached to it, and then we discovered that discarding it will not be the best, but okay, we can clean it by saying, okay, this transaction, it is sales. This transaction has to do with return. Okay, we have samples. Common sense applies that okay, when they give samples, it is a loss on the company, but we can also actually put that as okay, this is an expenses. Okay, we want them to test. So it has negative quantity, fine. When we multiply it by the unit price, it has a negative revenue. But what about if we just classify it as okay, this is an expenses on the company, so that we can say okay, during this month, this is the trend of your expenses. So I believe that we mitigate it, and that we clean it better, faster than just splitting it into two.
Okay. Basically, the aim is to find out the revenue, right? You were not told about the expenses.
Yes,
Yeah, they never gave
yes.
you an idea about what expense is this and what expense is that. So, in in the logical sense, if I'm looking at it from a logical point of view, and if you're saying that these items were returned, that which means that there was no, if these items were returned, whatever transaction that was done was reversed. Okay, whatever transaction was done was reversed. So if a customer had paid $20 million for this particular product and it was returned, the company would actually return that $20 million. 20 million minus 20 million is zero. There was no sale, there was no revenue, nothing. 20 million minus 20 million is zero. Okay, so in the mail you were told to discard, most likely there was no revenue in that particular item. So that is why I made a suggestion that you could go with what you feel is right, because basically nothing is actually right here. Okay, you are here to convince me that your idea is right, and give me reasons. Then your idea is right. But what I'm just suggesting is make two data sets: the discarded one and the one that is not discarded. So the one that goes with your idea and the one that goes with what is given to you in the mail, so that you can have 2 points of view. Because if you're looking at um if you're looking at it from the rear view, the front, driving a car, looking at the front mirror, front view, the windscreen, you are only seeing what's in front of you. If you're not looking at the rear view, that's small stuff, where you're looking at cars behind you or where you're looking at cars beside you, you can't really tell, the full view of the road. So you need to have two particular views you're looking at. One from this point of view, one from this perspective, so that you can have so many options around you. So if you're working with putting them as bots, return products, and you're leaving them there, fine. But also have a data set that's only focusing on the revenue. Okay, that's only forget expenses. Put expenses one side. Okay, that's only focusing on the revenue. So you might want to have a data set that does only that for you. Right. So I think that might be a way. So you can discard the negative values. You can discard the negative values, because I also found out that some negative values are in direct correlation to the positive values and even the product name itself. So yep. So that's one way to look at it. Okay. Um, Kende, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hi, Daniel. You said you sent an email. I want to confirm. The last email I got from you is on the 7th of February. So I don't know if you have sent another email after that.
Is it the email containing this data?
Yeah, no, I have that already.
Okay. I think that's the only email I sent.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yep. So the truth is that, remember I mentioned something before. If you are going to um let's say you're going to Kaduna, you can choose to take a flight. I can choose to take a bus, and Kehinde can choose to take a train. At the end of the day, We all get to Kaduna, but we saw different things while we were going to Kaduna. I saw the skies. Kende saw the railway, tracks and all those things. And the other person saw the road. It's different. Okay. But at the end of the day, we arrived at Kaduna. So whatever way you feel is good, go ahead. But I'll always recommend to have two different perspectives you're working with, so you can always employ and unemploy anyone. That gives you more information. Um. Okay. Okay. After cleaning, there are 3,937 stock code. Okay, so you can leave grouping the stock code. Okay, you can leave grouping the stock code. So that's fine. So that means you just want to focus on the first 10 and the best 10 selling stock codes. That's the way you want to look at it. And the least 10 selling stock codes. So that should work for you. Kende, go ahead.
Okay, Daniel, I want to ask as well. I don't know whether you discussed anything about the unit price. I know you were talking about getting rid of the negative values and the zero figures. Hello, the ones
Yeah.
that have both zero and negative values. I just want to confirm
Okay. The
and
negative
just
values.
leaving.
Um,
Yes.
what I just said about negative values is you can discard them.
Okay. What
Yeah.
of the ones with zero?
The ones with zero. What I would suggest you do to those ones are, okay, let me give an example. There are sometimes you go to Jumia, you put an item on your cart, on your shopping cart. You don't buy this item, you just view this item.
Yeah.
The system will
Yeah.
capture the name of the item you're trying to buy. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if they look at the quantity, you did not buy this product. So on their end, it's showing total purchase zero, but you have the name of the item. So that's why in this place, you might see the description of the item, the stock code of the item there, but there's no unit price. There's no price there, which means that this item is likely, this
Meanwhile, the
item,
unit price is zero.
yeah, the item was not actually purchased. Okay. Adefila, you wanted to say something?
Okay, sorry, I'm not trying to be against you,
Yeah.
but this is my reason. I believe the stock code is just for me. It has nothing to contribute to the data set.
Okay.
Reason because we don't know the data governance, like what is the idea behind the company putting this code on these particular items.
Yeah.
It's something we don't know. So I believe with this darkness, we'll not be able to get anything out. But if we put prominence on the item, the descriptions, I believe the the description is enough for us to get any insight we are looking for.
Okay. So Benga, basically, like I said earlier, whatever route or approach you choose to take, it's fine. Plays a very, it's totally good. You get, it's totally good. Because what I would do, what you would do, and what Kende would do are totally different, right? Like I said, no approach is right per se, as long as the approach you're giving is giving informed decision, and your informed decision has to be backed with fact. Okay, you have backed
But
up.
but
Sorry, go ahead. Okay.
unit price interest, but then bilaterally. But should it be eliminated from the data set? That's one. I just want to understand the reasoning behind the analysis. And let's say we remove both unit price with zero and negative values, and then we work on the rest. Will that be a representative of the data sets, as in using positive values only? When we explain that negative values will indicate that probably incomplete or incomplete transactions, zero will mean pending transaction or things like that for us to show the CMO. So I'm just wondering if that will help our analysis in the final, um, on the long run, to be able to represent the data and be able to explain to the stakeholders what we can draw, the insights we can draw from their data.
Okay. So here's the thing. Let's assume are working for um you're working for Prudential Zenith. Okay. I think it's an insurance company, wherever. And they tell you this is what we want you to do with this data, even though you have your assumptions, right? But this is what we want you to do with this data. Your assumptions will actually be good, but if the whoever gave you the data says do this to the data, you can't override that with your assumptions. I don't know if that makes sense. You won't want to override that with your assumptions. So what I would suggest is have your assumptions on a separate sheet. Work with that. Okay. Back it up with facts. Let your assumption be backed up with facts. You have a very good assumption, which is very key. Could actually help the company open their eyes. Okay, back it up with facts. I hope you guys can hear me. Back it up with facts. Then the approach the company is telling you to take, do that also, and back that up with the fact, the obvious fact they have in the data set. Because the truth is that you have your very good you have your very good reasons, and the company also have very good reasons for saying you should discard data. The company has a very good reason they're saying you should discard that particular information. Okay, so if
Data sets.
okay so basically what I want you guys to do is this. Whatever thing you have saying this native values, this is how I feel it should go, or this one, this one that you want, it's really good. Work with that. Please make your visuals for that. You're very good. But then have another look at it. Look at it in another way and say, okay, what if the company actually has a reason for saying we should discard this negative value? What if some people are working on it somewhere else? What if we have another team working on something different with these negative values and this negative unit price? Mm. You might want to discard them and just work with the positive values alone. Okay, and we know that whether or not they have the stock code or the item description or whatever it is, you have 3,937 unique code. You can't um, you can't actually start working with them one after the other. You can just focus on the first 10, the last 10. For the customer ID, focus on the first 10, the last 10. Then the purchase, they focus on the first 10 or first three, last three, that kind of stuff. But have a visual that shows that you discarded these values. So if you're having two different dashboards or two different Power BI 5, one for the one that you want to work with your perspective, you get, then one actually shows the discarded values, the way you discarded negative values and all that. Fine. But at the end of the day, just let anything you're doing, anyone you choose to go with, let it just be backed up with facts, something that can defend the data that you are given. So nothing is wrong, nothing is right. Everything is just data. Data is if you don't have data, it's just an opinion. But once you have a fact, you have a data, something that can be a foundation to whatever it is you're working with, then you are right. Okay. Adifila, go ahead.
Okay, what I showed up, this is the only this is the only entry where we have negative value for the unit price. And then and the description, I just bad debt. My group and I, we just exempting and remove it away from the data set, because we don't know what will be the implication of adjust bad debt be. I don't know. How do you treat it?
Okay, adjusted bad debts basically, you can always look at the unit price as total unit price, right? Total unit price, when you add the negative value to a positive value, that means you are deducting $11,062 from the other values in the unit price. So adjusted bad debts is simply I don't know if it's a debt that the company is owing or they are actually owing the company, right? So that is basically why, because if you're leaving the negative values, like you said, if you are treating them as returns and you're leaving the negative values, then you should leave this one. So you should not exempt this from there. Okay, so that's why it was actually pre-advised that you might want to remove the negative values from your total analysis, remove from your analysis. Let them not be part of the analysis at that point. You understand? Because adjusted bad debts, now you are not sure if it's what the company is owing or what they are owing the company. You are not sure. You can't make assumptions right now because it's not informed. The assumption you're making is not informed. Let me give you an example. I was helping a company predict their retirement income for their employees, and I made a very dangerous assumption saying that the retirement, because they have a column called retirement income or retirement fund, it was millions of rands, and I assumed that was actually what I was trying to predict. Okay, I assumed that was what I was trying to predict because they gave me some values for the previous years, and I was assuming that that's what I was trying to predict, but I was wrong. The actual thing I was trying to predict is a target monthly income. How much should they earn every month to reach that retirement fund? Okay, so that means dream of the person is to reach that retirement fund. But the question is, how much should they be earning every month? Looking at their expenses, the money they spend on medical bills, how much they spend on supporting a child, how many children they are even supporting, how much they earn that particular month. So that was actually what I was meant to be predicting, but I was predicting something else based on my assumptions. Okay, and it took me 4 weeks. I was working on the wrong assumption for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, right? Until I asked questions, and they actually told me that what I was meant to predict was a target monthly income. You get. So I spent my whole 6 weeks doing mathematics, adjusting machine learning algorithms, getting overfitting. I was really frustrated. But when I got an informed, when they actually shed more light on the data, I realized that it was just straightforward. So I did my algorithms and all that, and I was able to predict that target monthly income in as little as 1 week. I got my results and I presented it to the company. Okay, so that's why I said it's good to just discard negative values for now. Because if you're choosing the negative values you want to discard and negative values you want to keep, well, I can't really um, give you more information on that because the information I'm giving you is the information directly from the company's data, not my own information. So I don't know if that answers your question, Benga. Benga, can you hear me? Okay, so I don't know if we so
Yes, I can. Yes.
all right, so whatever it is you're doing, just if you're still choosing to keep the some negative values, what I would adjust to do advise you do is um, get all the negative values on a separate sheet. Okay, put all the negative values, can filter them out and copy and paste on a separate sheet, right? Then you would want to work with your assumptions and put visuals. If it's expenses, you're calling them fine. If you're calling other ones revenue, totally good. Then try to pay attention on the negative values that you kept in a separate sheet. Do some comparison and see maybe there might be something that might be missing. Okay, because I really don't want to give expo or anything like that. So there might be something you might be missing or some way you might have to treat it. It depends on you. Depends on you. But however direction you choose to go, just have facts, back them up with facts. Okay, it could be assumed facts from the internet, something like that, but just back it up with facts. Okay, and communicate it plainly. Yeah, because I want you guys to think freely. Don't put yourself in a box. Think freely, but just let it be informed. Okay. Do we have any other question? Any question from anyone? Do we have any question from anyone, guys? Okay, so if there are no questions, um on Wednesday I'm going to be showing you guys what kind of visuals I've been able to come up with. Okay. I will just do a little bit of presentation for you guys, hopefully, and tell you guys how I was able to come up with these visuals and what my recommendations or conclusions would be. So that will guide you for next week, which should be the presentations, because you'll be presenting this data. So this week you should be doing your visuals and everything. I'm going to show you mine on Wednesday. Wednesday. Okay, I'm going to show you mine on Friday. Sorry, on Friday. We'll be meeting again on Friday. So between today and Friday, you want me to meet with your team? Fine, go ahead. But on Friday, I'm going to be showing you what I I was able to come up with. Okay, so you can see something you want to add or remove or anything like that. So it depends on you. Try what you come up with. So I'll be waiting for your team's invitation in whatever medium you want to do it. Okay. Right. So then we'll see you guys in the next. If there are questions, basically, and if we have any other question whatsoever. Okay then. See you guys in the next one on Friday. I'm waiting for your invitations. Bye guys.